Our film links the art, the landscapes, and the gastronomic pleasures of Siena and the surrounding countryside. We begin our journey in the Le Crete region, south of the city of Siena. The word Crete means clay in Tuscan dialect, and this stark landscape surrounds the village of Asciano. This beautiful early Renaissance altarpiece by Matteo di Giovanni, The Assumption of the Virgin, now hanging in the National Gallery, London, originally came from the Church of St. Augustine in Asciano. The panels depicting the Archangel Michael and St. Augustine are still housed in Asciano. The left panel depicts St. Augustine, the Bishop of Hippo, who, after a hedonistic youth, combated heresy in Christ's name. On the right panel is the Archangel Michael, symbol of the dogmatic defense of faith and sometimes fanaticism. The Virgin is ascending to heaven, dropping her pink girdle as a sign to the disbelieving St. Thomas. Behind the earthbound saint is a distinctive landscape influenced by the actual hills and valleys of Le Crete. This lunar landscape not only inspired this Sienese painter, but the clay soil holds another secret, the truffle. These fungi are much in demand by restaurants all over the world. To accompany the earthy sweetness of the Crete and its white truffle, we suggest a product born in the Val d'Elsa, or Elsa Valley, Siena's province's most northern territory. It is Vernaccia di San Gimignano. This wine is named for the grape from which it is made, and has a pale golden yellow hue. Its colours and bouquet are enhanced by drinking from one of the Val d'Elsa's handmade crystal wine glasses. Colle di Val d'Elsa has become Europe's foremost crystal producer. The crystal industry in Colle not only represents excellent workmanship in the traditional Terre di Siena style, but a school located in Poggibonsi teaches cutting-edge design. A special saffron is produced in the Val d'Elsa, Saffron di San Gimignano. This spice gives a golden colour to many regional dishes and is yet another delicious fruit of beautiful San Gimignano, the city of 100 towers. In the heart of the Crete region, about 30 kilometres from Siena, is the ancient Monte Oliveto Maggiore monastery. It witnessed the creation of one of the period's most accomplished frescoes, dedicated to the story of the Olivetian monks and masterfully painted on the walls of the monastery's grand cloister by Luca Signorelli between 1497 and 1499. Moving from the Crete region towards the Val d'Orcia, one of the most beautifully preserved Renaissance cities is found along the way, Pienza. On the site of Corsignano, little more than a farming village, Pope Pius II built palaces, churches, and carefully planned streets. Finally, he changed the name of this new city to honour himself, calling it Pienza. Pius II, Aeneas Silvio Piccolomini, had strong ties with Siena. It was this pope who canonised St. Catherine of Siena in 1461. A small panel celebrates that connection, showing his coronation as pope. The painting was made as a book cover for a ledger called a bicchierna. Since 1257, the accounts of Siena were bound with superbly decorated front covers, painted in egg tempera on wooden panels. The reds used by Lorenzo Vecchietta bring to mind the colour of the famous red wine, Brunello di Montalcino, produced from a single grape, Sangiovese Grosso, known locally as Brunello. Often this notable wine is paired with a Sienese variant of spaghetti called pici. Pici are rolled out by hand and cooked as an accompaniment to game, and should, of course, be enjoyed with a glass of Brunello di Montalcino. Recently, the landscape of the Val d'Orcia, together with Pienza, San Gimignano and Siena, was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Our journey now takes us into another valley, the Val di Chiana, over which the Renaissance town of Montepulciano reigns supreme. It is the highest of all the Tuscan hill towns. Architectural enthusiasts come here to admire the pilgrimage church of San Biagio, built by the architect Antonio di San Gallo and consecrated in 1529. The church's honey-coloured stone blends in perfectly with the hues of the landscape. Beneath the vertiginous streets of Montepulciano, there are caverns hollowed out of the volcanic pumice, stone known as tuffo in Italian. These Renaissance cellars house the region's wine, Vino Nobile di Montepulciano. This wine is made from the Sangiovese grape, known locally as Prugnolo Gentile. One of the most perfect sensory experiences that Terre di Siena can offer is to sit in a trattoria in Montepulciano drinking a glass of Nobile to accompany a T-bone steak from locally bred cattle, the Chianina cow, dressed with a drop of extra virgin olive oil. In the province of Siena, there are two different extra virgin olive oils of protected origin, the Terre di Siena DOP and the Chianti Classico DOP. These high-quality oils are made with hand-picked olives, collected in pierced boxes for good aeration and preservation, and taken to the press within 3 days. Pressing must take place locally and within 24 hours of the olive's arrival at the press to provide the highest possible standards and the purest flavours. We like to think that these pleasures of the table and the Sienese landscapes can be matched by the paintings of the Mannerist artist Domenico Beccafumi. This Sienese Renaissance artist not only made altarpieces, but also frescoes, sculptures and prints. This Annunciation can be found in the church of St. Martino and Vittorio in Sartiano. We travel northwards to the home of the best-loved wine in all Italy, allowing ourselves a detour through the Val di Merse, or Merse Valley. This is where St. Galgano plunged his sword into the stone, and where the cathedral's roof is open to the stars above. Prime specimens of Cinta Senese, an ancient breed of swine, forage among the woods and fields. Their savoury meat, fattened on roots and acorns, makes the perfect complement to a glass of Chianti dei Colli Senesi. Continuing north, Chianti cradles you in its hills. Winding vineyards grow the grapes whose ruby tones give Chianti Classico its distinctive colour. Wine enthusiasts speak of the different aromas of Chianti: cherries, blackberries, leather, and even wet earth. A great companion to Chianti Classico, and most of the Sienese wines, is Pecorino delle Terre di Siena, a cheese made from sheep's milk. The ancient, well-preserved traditions of Sienese pecorino production prescribe wooden shelves for aging, thought to contribute to the product's characteristic flavour. It is interesting to compare and contrast the elegance of Chianti Classico and its landscape. The wine is reflected in the landscape, an emblem of rationality applied to nature and of reason guiding natural chaos, central themes of the Renaissance. Some of the region's most beautiful castles date back to this age. A worthy depiction can be found in Pinturicchio's painting, now housed in the National Gallery in Siena. We are finally in Siena itself, the hub of this part of Tuscany. The city smells of spices and sweets, panforte, a type of cake packed with fruits and nuts, and ricciarelli, orange-flavoured almond biscuits. The skyline of Siena is dominated by the stripy campanile of the cathedral, the Duomo, dedicated to Our Lady of the Assumption, and the tower of the town hall, the Palazzo Pubblico, a building that fills one side of the Campo. The Campo is where the famous horse race Il Palio is contested. The council chambers of the Palazzo Pubblico were frescoed by the greatest Sienese artists, including Domenico Beccafumi, Simone Martini, and Ambrogio Lorenzetti. Across the city, the Duomo houses an amazing art collection, including sculptures by Michelangelo and Donatello, and frescoes by Pinturicchio in the Piccolomini Library. The floor of the Duomo was used like a canvas for every artist who visited Siena. We end our tour of Siena with a glass of Vin Santo. This sweet wine is made from grapes dried in the cellars for several months before the wine is aged in caratelli, small wooden barrels. Siena is a city that fuses great spirituality, that of St. Catherine and St. Bernardino, with a taste for confectionery. The sweetness and love of God combines to create an art quite distinct from that of Florence. On this panel by Sano di Pietro, which originally hung in the Palazzo Pubblico, the Virgin Mary recommends Siena to the 15th century Pope Callisto III. O worthy shepherd of my Christian people, I entrust Siena to your care. The Pope responds, if your Callisto is deserving of such a gift, only death can take me away from Siena.